We're not gonna bring it up, but you did that.
And I just screwed that up. Oh, well, wait. Yeah, James chapter 3. We should have been yesterday, last week, but we did 4. Doesn't matter. Hallelujah, as long as it gets done. Not many of you should become teachers, self-constituted censors and reprovers of others. Why does that mean? Why?
Because you might be teaching the wrong thing.
There's another verse that says teachers are held to a higher
Yeah.
accountability.
What this
Well, that's what this says. We will receive stricter judgment.
Oh, there,
There it is.
there.
You become a judge, is what it's saying. We're not allowed to judge people. We're only there to love them. But can we judge their actions? Yes. That's why Jesus loves homosexuals, but he will not tolerate their lifestyles. That's why they die of all these weird diseases and they don't lie and they commit suicide and all that other thing. That's why he says, self-constituted censors and reprovers of others, that means you're judging. You can. You love them. My brethren, for you know that we, teachers, telling what that we mean, will be judged by a higher standard and with greater severity than other people. Thus, we assume the greater accountability and the more condemnation. Just because of the natural act of teaching. That's why I ran from God for 10 years. I didn't want this. I didn't want the added responsibility of teaching you people, because most people don't believe what I say anyway. They think I'm crazy. Because it doesn't line up with anything that the world has to say, or religion, or anything else. Hallelujah. For we all often stumble and fall and offend in many ways. And if anyone does not offend in speech, never says the wrong things, he is a fully developed character and a perfect man, able to control his whole body and to curb his entire nature. There ain't a soul on this earth that way. Nobody. Why? Because we're children of our flesh. But our flesh has been educated through the 5 physical senses, and we still live in our flesh. And our flesh rules our lives in a lot of cases. That's why we waver. Sometimes you're in the spirit, sometimes you're in the flesh, sometimes you're in the spirit, sometimes you're in the flesh. And when you get into the flesh, what does that mean? You're subject to
Death.
Well, that's the rewards, yeah. I mean, you can still sin and still be breathing, but it goes against what you believe. So what are you doing to yourself?
Killing.
You're in a turmoil. That's why Paul said, I want to do this, I want to do that, but I don't do it. I follow the flesh, I get into the flesh, and I don't do it. That's why Paul was in a quandary. He was in the spirit a lot. He taught 2/3 of the Bible, but then he'd fall into the flesh, and he did fleshly things, whatever they were. But the flesh came first, not God. He was an idolater when he was in his flesh. That's why Jesus wants us to always be spiritually minded, not fleshly minded. And to do that, you've got to let go of your body. Don't let your body dictate to what and who you are and what you do. Hallelujah.
Now,
Yes.
spiritually minded, I mean, you can get into meditation and do that, but going out, like say you go into your car and you're heading out, you're going to get something to eat, and thoughts are coming, like you said, we got 70,000-80,000 thoughts a day.
60 to 70,000 a day.
Okay, so.
And 90% of them were yesterday.
Okay, and
So we're living in the
you're
past.
thinking, or thought hits you,
Yeah.
and so you gotta be spiritually minded, so when that thought hits you, you know, maybe you don't even know or could care less, it's a fleshly thought, it's a carnal
If
thought.
you don't recognize that,
Yeah.
yes.
And the reason you don't recognize it, because you're thinking about something else and you just don't recognize it.
Right.
But should your antenna be up to
Yes.
recognize it?
Yes. And the only why you don't recognize it because your conscious mind is somewhere off in the Mars, gone. And your subconscious is controlling your body and doing the things that you know that the subconscious knows, because it knows everything physically that you've ever done. So yeah, because your conscious mind could be way over here, way over there. It could be 100 years in the past if you're thinking about a book you read. It could be 1,000 years in the future if you're into sci-fi. So the conscious mind only works 5% of the time in your everyday life.
Okay, so the bringing the spiritual thought to be spiritually minded is in the physical, in the conscious mind.
Yes, it can be, but it's a decision. Once again, you've got to choose to do that all the time. And none of us know how to do that quite yet, but it's possible.
Wait a minute, maybe Iron Man over there and give us some hints.
No, I know, Iron Man, you can't do it
One
either.
of the ways that you can do that is continually talk to yourself and to God. You know, Lord, I believe that you are who you say you are. Here I am, it's 85 million light years across, I'm walking to my car, and I'm looking, I've already been celebrating $16 million being in the Tulips account by the end of the year, and I believe that I am who you say I am. And so I can just relax right now knowing it's all done, and I want to keep my thoughts on, so if you continually talk to him,
So-
and so that's thinking in line with him, and then let him say, yes, you know what, that money's in the account. It's there. So you can relax. You don't have to get anxious. You don't have to hustle up and run back, do this or that. Just cruise along with me because we got it. Everything's done.
So he's gathering evidence when he does that.
He's repeating what his spirit knows to his flesh.
Right.
And it's coming from Ron.
Right.
You see that? All he's doing is reverberating what the spirit already knows to the flesh.
And is already telling him in his spirit.
Well, his spirit already knows it, so it's him doing it, but it's coming from his spirit. Does that make
So
sense?
you're repeating what the spirit knows to the flesh to get the flesh to line up.
That's right. You want to be in harmony all the time.
Okay.
And the best way to keep those negative thoughts from coming in is repeating what the spirit knows, and that's positive. Can you do it all the time? No. But when you do get a negative thought and you do recognize it, you can send it away.
Right. Yeah.
That's the best way.
A lot of times, I can recognize those, that I
Sure.
really know, but a lot of times,
You won't.
I'm just drifting.
Yes.
And it's just, boom, boom.
Yes.
Yeah, the two statements that work best for me in a continuum is, I believe that you are who you say you are. And then I believe that I am who you say I am.
Well, that's good.
And boy, that's
That's
and that's what he wants. Jesus and John kept saying, now they finally believe me, Lord, and that I've come from you. It's like he was really stressed somewhat about that because nobody was believing that he came from God. And he was trying to tell them, I've come from God. And so believing who he says he was, believing God who he says he was, believing the Holy Ghost who he says he was, and then believing what they say about you is just one of the best areas to kind of keep you lined up with the Spirit.
Well, Moose said something one time. He said, if you're not thinking along those lines as who he says you are, then you're in sin.
Yes.
That's the only sin we can do.
If we're saying, well, I'm hurting.
Or every
I'm
sin that we
broke.
do that's where it originates, right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was getting tired told this. Last week I was getting tired and kind of weary, working so hard.
Right.
And, it's writing energy checks.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Lord said, go to Isaiah 40, where it says, young men will stumble and fall, but I give power to those that wait on me, and I multiply your strength. And he said, just read that every day for 30 days. Meditate on it every day for 30 days, and when you feel yourself getting tired, just feel that energy coming from me. Think with me on that energy, and it just gyrate in there, rather than thinking, oh, I'm tired.
Right.
If you think you're tired, then you're going to be tired. But if you think, not me, that's what people, these strong youths, they're stumbling, falling, but not me, and I'm
Right.
cooking.
Right.
That's Isaiah 40.
Isaiah
28.
Yeah.
And this is what's so neat about this, guys, is that this is the very thing I was listening to this morning. The Richards tape, he was talking about this very thing right here. And he went into that word about wait upon the Lord, and he says, the original Greek wait become one with.
Yes.
That's what it says, it's not wait. It's not wait like, oh, we gotta pause, it's just,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do now, Lord? What are you gonna do? Because that's what the religiosity will tell you.
That's what hope is too.
But isn't that, I mean, that's,
Yeah, I like that, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
change
that's
that.
good.
Become one with.
become one with.
Because most of the time, it's kind of like ask in the Western, you ask and you're waiting to receive, but part of asking in the regular spiritual thing is you're receiving right then.
Right.
That's why
Because you've already received.
that's why you're more than a conqueror.
Right.
Right. And now what's more amazing is go back to the day when Isaiah was writing this. I mean, Jesus was what, thousands of years away? And he was believing. So was, of course, Abraham was too, all those guys. Sure.
And how did they get that information? Because they physically couldn't do it.
Spiritual.
Yes.
From the throne.
Right.
Yes. So see, they were still connected.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though they weren't born again, they were still connected.
Right.
That's why they were in paradise.
Yes.
Lucy and I had a big discussion before that.
Very nice. And the Catholics looked at that scripture and said, I think we can butcher this up really well.
They get some money out of this paradise for you.
We'll pray you out of purgatory, but it'll cost you. Let's see.
Well,
I think 3.
3.
Yeah. If we set bits in the horses' mouths to make them obey us, we can turn their whole bodies around. Well, how do we set bits in our own mouth? We don't. It's got nothing to do with the physical. They're talking about giving them an example to sheep herders and goat herders, people that don't understand anything. We're in the 21st century, so we have to interpret this and put it into a 21st century. So it's not about your mouth, it's about what you think. Your mouth will send a word out, but that word was generated by a thought. That's why it's so tremendously valuable to have kingdom living now.
Yes.
See, that's because that will put you in a position, mentally, physically, socially, financially, spiritually, will put you in a position where negative thoughts won't have any value in your real time. Therefore, you can make the right decisions. Because whatever decision you make is the reality you're going to have. It's up to you. It ain't up to God. It's up to you. Because you are God of this world. See that? That shows you how powerful you are. Maybe people don't understand how powerful they are. Just by a belief is the way the reality in this world is going to turn out. Just what you believe. And you may believe it wrong, but it'll still happen that way because the improbabilities collapse into a probability, and that probability will be in harmony with what you believe.
okay, so the kingdom we're living now
Yes.
is really back to what Ron said, the two things, knowing who God is and then who you are in Him, you know,
Yes.
who you are now
Yes.
because of that.
Yeah. You're not limited by anything.
So that's the kingdom living now,
That's
right?
more than being a conqueror. See?
Right.
Seed time and harvest. Because
Okay.
you don't do it to get, you do it because you want to.
Oh.
It's in love. But what is the return? Is what you give will be returned back to you. Press down, say, get run on that. Yes. But you don't do that to get it, but you want to get it because you do that. You see what I'm saying? It's a paradox.
Right.
But it's not if you believe, understand the spirit. It's not about the flesh, it's about the spirit side of it. Because the spirit is pure love. And that's God. Well, that's all we know that God is, anyway. I'm sure He's more than that, but with our finite minds, that's the only way that we can conceive who God is. Hallelujah. Likewise, look at the ships. Though they are so great and are driven by rough winds, they are steered by a very small rudder. However, the impulse of the helmsman, the person that's got the wheel in his hand, determines which way it'll go. So once again, it's what do you believe? You are the helmsman.
You know, Lloyd, that scripture just puts fault right in your lap.
Yes.
You're the helmsman. So if you, I mean, how did I get into this titty bar?
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody must have pulled me in here.
Yeah.
Or it might have been me.
And go look in the mirror and you'll find it.
That's right.
Yes, yes. And we do make stupid decisions and we put ourselves in positions that we don't want to be in, but we did at that time. Even so, the tongue is a little member, and it can boast of great things. See how much wood or how great a forest, a tiny spark can set ablaze. One little spark, boom. Fire. That's the worst thing could happen to you back then is fire. The little member, that tongue, can that tongue cause a fire? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not the tongue that's doing it, it's the thought.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning, because we're more than conquerors. Well, it was the thought that projected the emotion, which turned it into a word. And we spoke out that word, and that word has what? All the power that God gave you that word's backed by. It's backed by your belief. And yes, you can start fires that way, or you can put them out. Why do you think all these bad things are happening in the world today? Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, tidal waves. Where do you think all that stuff comes from?
Evil energy.
Yes.
Yeah, all the people talking about it, how bad it's gonna be.
That's the tongue. That's what the guy's talking about. See, they're giving their energy into the whatever it is.
I mean, if we're looking at the Weather Channel and we see one forming, a little hurricane forming over there, Canary Islands, we can curse it there, right?
You don't curse it, you just send it.
Speak to it or
Yeah.
tell it to dissipate or however you want
Yeah,
to do it.
yes. Yeah, but see, they even name it. They give the entity life force when they give it a name. They give hurricanes names. But once again, that's another way that you pump life into a situation.
That's true.
Yeah.
Words
use it
are
against
very powerful. Words carry frequencies. And just because you write the word, and it's going to keep sounding off that frequency until you get outside of that word. And the frequencies are still going. It never turns off, that's what I'm trying to say.
Words are important.
They last forever. The frequency from a word, the energy from a word. Do you know that guy, the Japanese doctor, Omato, or whatever his name was, that did the water experiments?
Oh, yeah.
He speak love or hate
Uh-huh.
into the water and the water turned pure,
Yeah.
even though it was crappy before he did it. He's dead now, but that shows you how powerful the word was that they spoke into the water.
Okay, so it says it lasts forever, so does that mean it just goes out into eternity?
Keep
Keep going?
And that word, if you write it, or if it's a painting, it keeps going. I mean, it's still generating the word.
If you write
If the word that's generating that forever is written down or painted a picture of, that word that's in that painting keeps going. It never stops.
it, you mean the image in that?
The
word.
frequency that word produces.
So when you said besides writing, script writing or whatever,
Doesn't matter.
you're making an image of something?
That's a word, yeah. The word's very, very, because our brain recognizes that word, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so not only is it got frequencies coming from the word, your brain recognizes it, your brain gives it energy, which in turn powers the word, and it keeps sending energy out forever.
And you can do it corporately. You can
Yes.
have another one, person, and they can do all this stuff. I mean, look what the Nazis did.
That's wiring in phase. You know what a phase is? It's a circuit. You can wire 100 batteries together.
Right, evil can, right,
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, that's why words are so important. I write love on my water bottles when I got at home. Why? Because every time I see that word love,
That's good.
Do you speak to it?
no, I don't have to anymore, I just think it. But yeah, you can.
You can. Let me tell you what I've been doing, guys, just for, I started thinking, because I was getting irritated every time I see one of these Abrams for governor signs. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna turn that into a headline. Right now I'm gonna do it. Abrams defeated by Kemp, and I see the headline. Wow! And then today, I was up in North Georgia and I saw Kemp signs everywhere. I said, okay, Kemp defeats Abrams, another headline, bam!
But you know what you're doing?
Tell me.
All the possibilities that are in
Right
the
there.
world, that Jesus created, good or bad, they're all out there.
Right.
Well, you're collapsing all the bad ones into the good one that Kemp defeated that guy.
Right.
You're doing that.
And
That's
just-
you.
And I'm doing
Now,
it. And I have some authority here because I'm a Georgia voter.
yeah, you got authority because you're a child of the world.
Right.
You're from God. That gives you the authority.
Right.
But yeah, you can be in California and doing the same thing.
True.
Yeah, that's the law of
That's true.
entanglement.
Yeah, headline thinking, that's really good. I was climbing a high voltage tower when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I was way up high. And
7 or
I
8?
saw this headline, Spencer kid falls off a high tower.
He's from-
And
he's
I-
from
I
Spencer,
said,
Oklahoma.
I'm not doing that, I'm going back.
What did you say, Spencer?
Yeah, I lived in the town
Oh.
of, community of Spencer,
Oh, Spencer,
on the
Oklahoma.
edge of Oklahoma City.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Midwest city, not by 10 Air Force Base.
And then I started seeing headlines, Ron Reeser, state champion in wrestling, yes.
Yeah, that's
And
good. That
Ron
is-
Reeser, Southeast Conference champion. And so you start seeing those headlines and it's
Evidence. You're giving yourself evidence.
Yeah.
So and now you're believing it.
Yeah.
Well, there's the evidence. I can see
You're
it.
collapsing the improbabilities into the possibility, right? And if you do that and you believe it, then guess what? It's yours.
That's good.
But that's what he's doing.
That's good.
We all can do this if we believe it. It's not calling those things are not as though they were, but that's what it's saying, but that's not what you do. It's because you're collapsing the reality that you're living in now into a reality that you want to live in. Same principle.
And all of these things help persuade our heart,
Yeah,
which is the ground zero for the belief system.
it has to be,
Right.
yes. That's the center of who you are. That's the center of your circle,
That's
is
good.
your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is in perfect coherence with your brain, because the brain has it too. But the heart's the most powerful out of the two. The brain is a CPU. It sends all the chemicals and all the crap that goes into your organs and your
Is the heart part of the soul?
no. Soul's part of the brain. Your heart is where God lives. That's where your spirit is. Soul,
Mind, will, and motion.
yeah, that's the soul, and it's in your brain. When the brain's functioning, that's the definition of a mind. When you're thinking or reading or doing something, that means your mind is in the brain, the soul's in the brain.
So when you're praying in tongues, you're
That's
not
right.
using your mind, so
Right.
that's coming from your heart.
Yes, yeah, spirit that's in the heart.
Okay.
That's why you can count to 10 and still pray,
Right,
which you can't do without praying in tongues.
right.
Yeah, it's pure spirit. Hallelujah. Let's see, and the tongue, we did that as a fire. The tongue is a world of wickedness set among our members, contaminating and depriving the whole body and setting on fire the wheel of birth, the cycle of man's nature, being itself ignited by hell. Gehenna. You heard Ding Dong say Gehenna a lot.
Ding dong?
Yeah.
Ding dong.
It shows you how powerful words are. Tongue just makes words, right? It's a fire.
Is that a Hebrew word, Gehenna?
Gehenna, that means hell.
Well, I know it means that's what it means. That was one word.
I don't know. I don't know what the origin of the word is. I should, I don't, or I did, or I forgot, whatever. The world of iniquity, of wickedness set among our members, contaminating and depriving the whole body and setting on fire the circle of birth. Where do you think abortion came from? This is what they're talking about.
What verse again?
6.
6.
The cycle of man's nature. It's destroying all of it. It's destroying man is what it's doing. On a word, on the thought, which generates an emotion, which brings out a word. See, we can destroy physicality or flesh by words. That's what he's saying. Fire is a destroyer in this scripture. The cycle of man's nature, our nature, even though our nature is human and is controlled by the world because of our body and the five physical senses, this burns it all up by itself being ignited by hell. Where does the fire come from? Negative thinking. That's what hell is. It's absence of God. And we can create that. That's how powerful we are if we choose to. By thinking. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and sea mammal can be tamed and has been tamed by human genius or nature. So we can take God's creatures. That's why when all these dipshit stuff on TV is telling you that your dog is thinking how much he loves you, that's crap. Dogs can't love. You're a pack animal, you're the head guy. The dog is respectful to you because that's the dog's nature. Animals do not have spirits. They do have souls, but not spirits. So get away from this.
Are they gonna be in heaven?
Depends on what you want.
They're a bunch of horses up there. Horses.
But they're not the same thing down here. That's why it's a different, you're trying to bring physical into spiritual again. You can't do that.
You mean your animal ain't gonna talk to you in heaven?
Oh, no.
I believe Jackson's gonna talk.
Okay, well, then you just keep believing.
I believe Jackson's gonna talk to Ron.
Okay. Okay.
He'll talk with his eyes even if he didn't talk with his voice.
Now listen, invite me over one night when that, happens, invite Lloyd over too.
We'll have Jackson meet you at the door.
That's right. Hello, Ed.
I just told you about tongues and birds and you're going to, oh well. Let's see. But the human tongue can be tamed by no man. No man can tame the tongue. Now is he talking about a spiritual man or a flesh and blood man? Flesh and blood man. It is relentless, undisciplined,
Irreconcilable.
Yeah, I can't say it, irreconcilable, whatever. Evil, full of deadly poison. But that's natural. And there is no fooling around or saying a joke and you didn't mean it. It's either is or it ain't.
A spiritual command can
Yes.
control.
Yes. That's why you want kingdom living now. With it we bless the Lord and Father. And with it we curse men who were made in God's likeness. That's why you don't want to do this. So you can say something negative to a child of God, and the child of God doesn't even have to hear it, and you still can suffer the consequences. That's why it's so important for us to live in the kingdom where other people can't do that to us. Although we do let them, but we don't have to. Does a fountain send forth simultaneously from the same opening fresh water and bitter? Of course not. But we do it with our mouths. Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives, or a grapevine figs? Neither can a salt spring furnish fresh water.
Fresh water.
Can't. Salt water kill you.
A salt spring.
Yeah. Who is there among you who is wise and intelligent? Then let him by his noble living show forth his good works with an obtrusive humanity, which is the proper attribute for true wisdom. With the unobtrusive, I'll get it right, unobtrusive humility. That means it's perfect, it's pure, it's good, which is the proper attribute of true wisdom. Okay? The superficial wisdom is not such as comes down from above, but it's earthly, unspiritual, animalistic, even devilish, demonic. Superficial wisdom. What's that mean? That's the wisdom of the world.
Right.
That's what your five physical senses bring into the subconscious realm. It comes into your body. That's what we've been brainwashed with, even inside our mother's womb. See, 70% of all that information that your senses have brought into you, however long you've been on this earth, even before you were born, is in fear. 70% of that's fear-based.
And that's what they teach in public education right there.
Yes.
And that's what they've all been taught. That's what puts people on the broad path,
Yes.
listening to that stuff.
Yeah, for ever how many years, college are horrible, school system's horrible. That's why they've got these games that the kids play now, they're demonic.
Yeah.
They mean this absence of God. See, when you reach a goal, which we've always tried to have goals in our life and we wrote them down and you make this goal, it could be dollars, it could be whatever. But when you do that and you've reached that goal, your brain automatically sends out dopamine, which is a stronger drug than heroin. And it makes you feel, it's a high, and you get an amount, it's testosterone, dopamine, and a couple of other chemicals. And man, you feel like euphoria. I mean, you've reached your goal, and now you're King Kong, you're the Hulk, and that's what it does. Now, when you play that game again, and you reach that level, nothing. Because see, the body is used to that. So now you've got to go to a higher level to receive that same reward physically. And then once you've done that, you got to keep going and going and going, and eventually you're not going to reach it anymore. And then you walk around dull. And that's what's happening. That's why 30-year-old people live with their parents in the basement.
Is that why when they always say you climb the ladder of success and then you get up the top and it's the wrong building, or, you know, it's not.
Wrong ladder.
The wrong ladder,
Yeah.
or, you know, it's
Yeah.
what's up there, you know.
That's why dope addicts can only shoot dope for a while, and then it doesn't do them any good, so they got to up the dosage. They got to get higher. So they put more dope in them, and eventually
That'll kill.
they're immune, or they'll kill them, one or the other. Because that's the way the body does. It gets used to whatever, because it has to, because of the way we live. We're in a flight or fight situations almost all day long, and we bring it on ourselves because that's the world system. And if we do that, after all those drugs from the brain, you get into your body, and testosterone makes you stronger and all that. Eventually, it wears out the body.
What about being on the spiritual side now? Because aren't you on a kind of a euphoric high in the spirit?
That's different. It's not flesh. We're talking strictly flesh.
Okay, but when you think in spirit, does that
That's
affect the
different.
flesh?
It can, if you believe it. It's all up to what you believe. Yeah, it can.
So let's just think that you're thinking that you're talking with Jesus and the Father and having a good time in heaven. And
That's why they tell you to do, and I don't want to interrupt you, but you speak in tongues.
Yeah, that's
So you're worshiping God when you're in tongues. So you're outside the realm of thought, time, space, and matter. That's meditation. It's a form of meditation.
Yeah.
That's why you do that. To eliminate all of that 60 to 70 million thoughts that you have, and 90% of them from yesterday. So that puts you in a rut, because you're reliving yesterday. Why? Because that's the way we've been trained. You got to get out of that. You don't want to be subject to the flesh that way.
So if you
It's
say-
hard to get out.
So if you say, if you stretch and say, I believe you, Lord, that when you said the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is alive in my mortal body and it quickens my mitochondria and my cells and every organ and tissue, and you say that about 10 times a day. That'll help the flesh.
So he's looping back. See, this is what he knows, and he's looping it back for his senses together. That's why he speaks it, so he can hear it. He's looping it back into his
Looping it
system. Yeah, he's looping it back. Right? That's why Paul said the mind is enmity against the spirit without being what? Qualified. See, the natural mind is always going to be because it wants to run the show. That's the ego, the id. And that's what the world's doing right now. That's why they've got all these false religions to keep the id, the self, in the position of control. And even farther than that, then that has a control of the false god that controls the id. You see? I mean, it's just, it's a joke.
You can write a headline, Georgia man, spry and plays 18 holes of golf every day at age 170.
Wow, that's a, I like that.
What all you're doing is what? Collapsing the possibilities or into the reality. Oh, that's wrong too. You're collapsing all the improbabilities into the possibility.
I would change that a little bit. I would use the old 98-year-old guy sets lap record at Road Atlanta in Porsche GT3
There you go. Amen.
RSR.
By that
Still
time, they were not
scratching
being
their
Porsches.
But they're seeing his taillights disappear.
Smoking like a true race car.
Now there's a headlight.
Like I said, everybody has their own way
That's true.
of bringing information into them. None of us think the same. We hear the same thing, but we're going, that's why you and I were having that verbal combat when you came in. I don't receive that the way you do. Not saying you're not right, I'm not saying that. I just said, I can't see that because I am who I am, you're who you are. As long as we understand that Jesus is Lord, and our belief system is what controls everything. Spirit and body, physical and spiritual, is our belief system.
Right. Exactly right.
So, hallelujah. Most people don't like that. They don't want to know.
Well, because they're going to be at fault if it doesn't work out.
Of course. And that's why they attack. I'm married to an attacker. But if you have bitter jealousy, envy, and contention, rivalry, selfish ambition in your heart. See, it's got to be in your heart. That's where it's all. Do not pride yourselves on it, and thus be in defiance of the false truth. It's all about your belief. Bitter jealousy, envy. Why do I envy you? Why would I envy you? That's a judgment, right? We don't judge people. A contention. What's a contention? Well, we don't believe on something, a point of view. Rivalry. I'm not a rival. I don't rival anybody. I'm my own person. I stay in my own thing. I'm not out for competition. Selfish ambition. That ambition is for self. It makes me look good. In your hearts. And it's got to come from your heart. Do not pride yourselves on it and thus be in defiance of false to the truth. It's a new truth, which is rewriting the real truth into a false truth, a false wisdom. You see that?
Yeah. Here's mine says, do not boast and lie against the truth. So it's the same thing,
Yeah.
but just reversed.
Right. But this is why we have to be careful what we hear, what we see. It's our senses. That's what attacks our bodies, is our senses. That's what we connect to the reality we live in through our physical senses. And it's gathering information.
Turn it off.
Yeah. So you got to be real careful because you may not even know that a false wisdom is entered into your subconscious because you weren't conscious of it. So how are you going to know? You're not. But you're going to act it out. That's why you've got to be in kingdom living now, all of it, as much as you can. And go back when you're not. Hallelujah. So you can pick that up. Ah. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure, undefiled. Then it's peace, loving, courteous, considerate.
Wait a minute, you skipped.
No, he didn't. He's right on. 17. You already did 16.
No, he's doing, okay. Go ahead.
But the wisdom from above Where's the wisdom come from? Heaven. God's there. That's God. That's above. That's who he is. It's first of all pure, undefiled. That means it's pure. There's nothing in it but love. Then it is peace-loving, courteous, considerate, gentle. It's all of the above. That is what God is. That's the love. That's what he does. That's who he is. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise God, praise God. It is willing to yield to reason, full of compassion and good fruits. It is wholehearted and straightforward, impartial and unfettered, free from doubts, wavering, and insecurity. That's living in the now. That's what the now brings you. That's where God's at. How do we stay in the now? Well, we have to, through meditations, the only way we can stay in the now. It's the only way. But I know it. And the harvest.
Wait a minute. Ron, you know another way to stay in the now besides meditation?
Speaking to yourself as you go down the road.
Okay.
And speaking to God and thinking with him.
Okay.
And the harvest of righteousness, of conformity to God's will, in thought and deed. That means what? You're in whole, you're connected, you're one. His thought is your thought is his thought. And when that happens, then you're going to act the deed, the experience in kingdom living. Yes, the fruit of the seed, that's the source, that's the beginning. Sown in peace by those who work for and make peace in themselves and in others. That peace which means concord, agreement, and harmony between individuals with undisturbedness in a peaceful mind, free from fears, agitating passions, and moral conflicts. All that's negative, right?
Right.
All those last things. In themselves, in others. That peace, which means concord, that means harmony, agreement, harmony between individuals. That's where we want to be. We want to be on the same frequency level as every human being in this world. And that's what we got to teach them. And it's all about vibrational energy anyway. That's who we are. We're electrical people. That's what our body runs on, is electricity. So, yeah, it's all about frequencies. That's why words are so important. So, speak to water. Speak to your food. You know, they said pray. Praying and speaking's the same thing.
Right.
You don't have to hubba bubba and rubba dubba. You just say, you know, this food is going to.
Blessed.
Well, it's art, you know, there's no blessing in food.
Well, no, I
Speak-
just say the food is already blessed.
What?
I ain't blessing it. It's already blessed.
That's old religion, but that's fine.
Wait a
You
minute.
do what you want. As long
Well,
as
what do you
believe-
say to your food?
Nothing.
Okay.
It's food. It's cold. It's being.
Do you want to give thanks that it's there?
Why?
Because it's there. It ain't air. You're eating something. Do you want to give thanks?
No.
Okay.
I bought it. I eat it. It fills my belly. I don't have to give thanks for it. God's created the now. I live in the now.
Well, you don't want to give thanks in the now?
Why would you give thanks when you've already got it? That's like
It-
saying,
it's-
that's like praying for something.
No. Thanks,
It is to me.
thanks
Thanks
is
all.
thanks is a recognizing that it ain't you, it's him.
Well, then, do you think that you can walk? Do you think that you can
Yeah, I
talk?
can thank him, I can pee, I can
Why?
thank him. Why?
Yeah,
Well, because I want to.
well, then fine. I think nothing wrong with that. There's no says that you have to do that.
I understand that, but I
But
want
that's a
to.
jumping through a hoop to get.
I'm not jumping through a hoop, I got it all.
Yeah, okay.
I'm coming from it, I ain't going to it.
Okay. I don't see it that. Well, it's okay. As long as you're happy,
I'm happy.
I'm happy. Hallelujah.
Dueling happies.
That is it. That's the Chapter 3, do we have any discussion on chapter 3? We've still got about 15 minutes left.
Let's see.
When you're in now, you have a peaceful mind.
That's right.
Because when you're in the now, you have entered the rest,
Right.
and you know that there's nothing else for you to do
Yeah, you are one with God,
except praise Him,
and that's love.
appreciate Him,
Yeah.
love Him back, yeah, absolutely.
And you do that because He loves you. It's not out of a necessity, you don't have to, but you want to. There's a difference in necessity and wanting.
I think that's what He
That
likes.
is correct.
I think He likes it because we want to.
That's why He created us, is to love Him.
That's a circle.
It can be, yeah.
And for those, this is what I think anyway, for those who think that God is so good that He needs another name that would be appropriate for me to attach to Him, He uses Eloi, which means the adorable one.
Yeah, Daddy.
Because I look at Him like that.
Really?
The adorable one, yeah, that's a,
That's why He's got more than one name for the different people on earth. I just say Daddy, and that's the most precious name that I
Yeah,
have
it
to
is.
give Him, is Daddy.
I agree.
That's why I call Him Daddy. But that's God the Father. He's also God the Son. You don't call God the Son Daddy. But it's the same thing. See, there's always a paradox.
Well, see, I can see the Holy Spirit when He's up there,
Time to go.
walking into Jesus and Jesus walking into the Father, and we're all walking into it. We walk in and walk out. So,
Because we're spiritual beings.
right, it's all
And He's a
spirit.
spirit.
Right.
We're part of that. That's why He breathed, and it wasn't breathed, but that's what.
And when you get in there, it's, rivers of living water flowing out there. You say, man, let's take a little ride here inside. Because we came from Him in the inside anyway, our little lights. We came from the Father. We'll be returned to Him
Yeah, that's
one day.
That's the energy of the Spirit.
Right.
That's what's in our spirit's energy.
Right.
Yes,
When we were born, that little energy light.
is in there. So where does that energy go when you don't believe in God and you die? Reconciled.
Yeah, I see myself when I get up there spiritually,
Yes.
that Jesus can take me up the steps to return me, not to present me, because I've already been there, right?
Yeah, you're there now?
Yeah, and to return me as a spiritual, mature spiritual person, not a baby, not a little bitty baby
Right.
that aborted babies are.
Yes.
So I see Him presenting me to the Father who loves me, and He says, shoot, son, I knew about you trillions of years ago.
But if you're up there, you already know all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But He's affirming that I know.
Well, you're a part of Him.
Yeah.
So you know everything He knows. And you can talk both ways on that.
Well, I think you can think it and also talk it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because does God give you everything that He knows? Well, if you're part of His Spirit, I would say yes. So you know everything God knows? Yes. Did the angels? No.
Right.
See? So we're higher than the angels. Right there shows you that, the people believe they've got angels to protect them. They don't need angels to protect them if they believe that Jesus has given them all things to pertain to life and godliness. You don't need any angels.
Don't you have a guardian angel? Everybody has one.
I don't think so. You don't need it. Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
I've seen one operate.
Oh, okay. Fine. I don't need one. I never have needed one.
Well, I say they're here. I mean, I don't worship them, I know they're here, so,
But they're
it's just me.
spirit beings, but they're not the same spirit that God was, that was inside you. You're superior.
I understand that, but they are here, what I think, on a mission.
For what?
Anything when it says, command ye me, I believe the words that could be taken by me speaking out, they could take it somewhere. They could take it, I don't know.
You're a God of the world. You're the one
But I
that
can
creates.
speak to it, I could say, look, I'm speaking to, something over in Africa.
Okay.
Okay. Now, no, it's no time or distance, but just say, I want something taken over there. I mean, I got a guardian angel, so, and then
That's
I've
your-
seen him operate on my behalf one time. So,
Well,
I mean, I can't,
then that's a weakness in you because you don't need that to operate in kingdom living now. You don't need the angels. You don't need nothing. You just need to believe God. He's given you all things to pertain to life and godliness. There's nothing about angels in
when
there.
if one showed up, first thing you would do is ask him, are you from God, the Father whose Son, Jesus Christ, died for my sins?
Now, where'd you hear that?
Huh?
Where'd you hear that? You want to be sure he's not a devil?
No, I'm just saying if an angel shows up, they're angels of light from the dark thing. They can manifest themselves, little creatures can do something.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Where are they
know.
getting the authority to do all that?
Where do they get the authority?
Yeah,
Well,
because they don't do
I
things
guess
on their
maybe they
own.
get it from somebody that believes they're angels out there. And I believe there are angels out there.
I didn't say there's not angels.
Well,
That's
I
not what
believe
I'm
there's
saying.
a guardian angel.
They don't guard what? You don't have to be guarded.
Well, I've seen
But
it.
that's religion. See that, you've
No,
learned, you've
I've
learned
seen-
in Bible
I've seen it
school.
happen before.
No, yeah, well, you know what? It could have been an event that you created to have that happen so that you're right. You know?
Well, let me tell you, I saw my